Okay, so we're going to talk about the form of an entry, a vocabulary entry for Latin, because you guys need to learn this for your tests and your quizzes. So here I've got just different types of words. So you've got what we call parts of speech. We've got verbs, we've got nouns, we've got adjectives, we've got prepositions. These are all parts of speech that you guys have to learn in Latin. And so we're going to look at how the entry works in a vocabulary item. Now some of these, they're just starting to get complex in this chapter, this new chapter, which is chapter 12. Let's start with the verbs. Now the verbs in the last chapter, in chapter 11, they added the second principal part. You guys, even before they added that in the vocabulary entry, you knew how to make the second part of a verb. But let's talk about what that is. So in a verb, right now, in chapter 12, which is the new chapter we'll look at the end of class today, this is what a verb entry looks like. And I actually used one from chapter 12. This is from our new chapter. So the very first Latin word in a Latin verb entry is the I form of the verb. Guys, what's the first form of a verb? The I form. What is the letter that ends an I form of a verb? O. The present tense I form of a verb will end with O in Latin. So if you see a word like that, you can bet it's probably going to be a verb. And then the next word is the infinitive. What two letters do Latin infinitives end with? R-E. Present infinitive in Latin, present active infinitive ends with R-E. So notice that, the O and then the re. So when I give you guys a quiz and I say invenio, you need to write in the next blank the infinitive, okay, which ends in the R-E. And then the next thing you write is the, what's this?
Meaning.
The meaning. Good. So we'll always follow that pattern. That's how it's going to show it in your book. It'll show it on the Quizlet set. And that's how you're going to write it on the quiz. The last thing that you write is a derivative. Again there, if there's not one, what do you write?
None.
None. Now, almost all of them have one though. Probably 99%. So if you don't know, it's probably it's probably good to guess something that is spelled similarly, looks similar. A derivative typically is spelled similar and it has a related meaning. So here, invent is a good derivative for invenio, which means to find or come upon. Invention, of course, would be another. Now, let's look at noun entry. So noun entry, this is new. We haven't had a full noun entry before. In the past, you guys would have something like fossa, and then you would have to learn the meaning, which is ditch, and then you'd have to learn a derivative. Now, in chapter 12, we're adding the full noun entry. Bless you. So, the full noun entry. This will now be required for all future quizzes and tests. This is how a noun entry works. The first one is the nominative form, right? So fossa has the A of the first declension. A-E-A-E-A-M, long A-A-E-R-U, I-S-A-S-I-S-2. Now the first declension's through. So in the song it goes A-A-E. Now this is the A one. That's the nominative singular. And then every single noun, the next thing in the entry in your book or in a dictionary or when you write it on the quiz or test, the next thing is going to be the genitive singular. Now you could also abbreviate that, and a lot of times it will be abbreviated and it'll look like this. So, if I give you fossa on a test, then you have to give me in the next blank either the AE, which is the ending for genitive, or just write out the genitive, fossi. The next thing you need is the, what is this? Gender. What does F mean? What does M mean?
Yes.
What do you think N would mean?
Nominative.
Neuter. Okay, those are the three genders in Latin. You're going to have to memorize that. It's pretty easy. There are a lot of patterns here. Almost all of your I words, first declension words, are feminine. Almost all of your us-e words are masculine. E words are neuter. There are patterns there, so learn the patterns so you don't have to feel like you're individually memorizing every single one. Then, what comes next? Meaning for noun. And then you get derivative. Okay, so fossa means ditch. It comes from the root for digging in Latin, and so, of course, fossil comes from that. That's a derivative. Okay, next is an adjective. Now, I want to preview this. You guys don't actually have to learn the full entry for adjectives yet, but the thing is you already know it. We practice it in Latino Wiwa every day. It's just talking about the genders of an adjective. So if you have an adjective like bonus, which means good, if you wanted to give the full entry for that adjective, which we'll get probably in the next couple chapters, and which you'll see in the vocabulary index or in a dictionary or wherever, okay, I give you bonus, masculine, nominative, singular. To give the full entry, you would then write the feminine form or the ending for the feminine. So you could do bona or just a. And then you could do bonum or just That's the neuter nominative form. So this is what a noun, an adjective entry looks like. It's going to have something like us, a, or if it's a word like ruber, which we get meaning red, it goes ruber, rubra, rubrum. Basically, we have the three genders, masculine, feminine, neuter. That's how all adjectives will be listed in Latin. And then what comes after the feminine and neuter? We get the meaning. And then we get the derivative. So for right now, guys, this part in here, you don't actually have to learn that yet. In chapter 12, and so far in earlier chapters, you haven't had to learn the different gender endings as part of the vocabulary entry. But you guys can do this, and so in the next chapter or two when we add it, it won't be hard. But that's what a full adjective entry looks like in Latin. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is